Well, it's a beautiful, cool morning here in August at the ranch, and we have not shown everybody what our property kind of overall looks like. We have about 37 acres. We have fenced it all ourselves. That was a few years ago. We did that on the weekends. So I thought Loki and I, while Dawn is busy doing some yard work, I thought that maybe Loki and I would take you on a little tour of the property. Right now we're at our main gate off of our road, and we'll head up our road and go all the way to we're at the southern end, we'll go all the way up to the northern end of our property and take a look. I'll tell you what's along the way as we go. So this is what you see as you come up our driveway. Right now with the monsoon rain, everything is so absolutely gorgeous out here. Gotta stop and look at the beautiful Mexican poppies that grow here. They grow wild and make for a gorgeous view. All these beautiful small orange flowers, mixed in with the grasses and some other weeds. That just makes for such a pleasant, serene place to live. As we approach our actual home site, Don is filling up the gas trimmer so he can trim some of these weeds that are growing. You can see around the animal pens, the chickens and the dog pens. That's what he's doing this morning. We're expecting quite a lot of rain in the next few days, so there's just not much we can do with the rain and the lumber prices. We're on hold on the build, but next week we're going to bite the bullet and get our lumber that we need for the walls on the inside, and probably take a look at ordering the length of lumber that we need for the rafters for the roof. So that'll be quite an expense, but it's something that we have to do. We can't just sit here stagnantly any longer. We got to get this thing done. Loki has one of his toys. So there you have it. The container. You can see our garden, our little porta potty that we bought a few years ago before we had our trailer. Right now we have it set up to be a composting toilet in there. So I use it mostly because I don't want to go inside the trailer when I'm all filthy and dirty from working on the house. So it's just sitting there right now waiting to be used. You can see our indoor-outdoor kitchen. We have a few tools laying around. Our solar array, the laundry, powerhouse is behind the laundry, and then the two trailers. One is ours, one is my son's. And we'll keep going. All right, we've passed the trailers, and the tent just holds a lot of junk actually right now, stuff that we're probably going to be getting rid of. We couldn't quite sell it all or give it away when we moved from our house in Tucson, so we had to have some place to store some of it, and it's actually not the best place to store things because the weather does get in there occasionally. And quite a few things. We've lost some mementos. We've lost some furnishings. But we do have like paint and a few construction items in there waiting to be used. Not very many, not much of anything that's of any significant value. It's just we don't want to take anything down until we have everything out of there that we may or may not need. and clean it out. So up here is the barn. We call it a barn. It's not really a barn. It's just a shed. It's shaped like a barn. And our other container that we store things in. These two structures are just being used for storage. The barn was our main source of storage at first before we got the containers and the tent, but it's just simply too small. Right now it's pretty much cleared out, and this is our road to the northern part of our property. Let's take a little walk. The monsoon is really starting to fill it in. See Lakey up there. He may have a lizard or a rabbit in his sights. It's bouncing around up there. And here we are at the northern part of our ranch. We call it a ranch, I think mostly because that's what my dad kind of called it. When we told him how much property we had, he said, "You have a ranch." So that's why we call it a ranch. This is our broken corner that we're going to have to fix. This was here when we bought the property. Not quite as collapsed as it is right now. Right now it still keeps out our neighbor's cattle. And we will rebuild this corner. The rancher who was leasing this land before the new owner bought it assured us he was going to repair this corner, and he failed miserably. That's just one of the things that can happen when you have an inconsiderate neighbor. But the guy who owns the property now is really quite busy with his cattle operation, and he can't do it at this moment. He's been doing some improvements for his cattle up closer to his house and barns and things. So that's been his responsibility. And quite honestly, it's our responsibility to fence the cattle out. If we don't want the cattle in, we have to build the fence. So we will fix this corner eventually. Standing in mud, not gonna work. Alright, so there you have it. We have a quick video tour of our property. Most of it is just being left to go to nature, go back to nature, if you will. We've got lots of beautiful flowers out here, lots of beautiful greenery, lots of wildlife. We do have snakes, skunks, that kind of thing, the things that we don't want. These flies are crazy, driving me crazy. But we do live in the middle of a cattle ranch. It just happened that way. When we bought our property, there were a lot of private owners around us who just had property that they were buying for, holding on to for investment. And then a young couple bought a ranch that was for sale near us and have proceeded to buy almost all the property around us, which is kind of nice because that means we won't have anybody moving in around us. It's just going to be their cattle, and that's fine. They're not a problem, other than these darn flies. But that just lasts for maybe a month or two in this time of year when, oof, monsoon is happening. But anyway, we love it out here. It's quiet, it's peaceful, it's beautiful. We're holding off on the build until we can get our lumber and our lumber purchased, which should be happening next week. We've got our pocket door hardware coming in. We'll get the wood for our internal wood frame walls, and then probably once those are done, we'll go ahead and buy the wood for the rafters and the plywood that we're going to put on top for the roof and all the roofing materials that we'll need. We're going to go with the 20-foot boards for the spans that we need to extend the wood across, in order to build that roof and put the rafters up. So we have to get those ordered. When we pick up our lumber next week with the pocket doors, we'll get that stuff ordered as well. We just have a few concerns about placing a special order for lumber because we have had issues with the lumber that we've gotten lately where it warps very quickly, it cracks, it's not cured, it's all green. And if we put a special order in for these special length boards, we want to make sure that anything that is not satisfactory in that order we can return without any kind of a penalty, because we've ordered special order items before, and we were always told that if we had to return them, there'd be a 20 or 30% restocking charge or return charge or whatever, because they feel they'll lose out on special orders if they try to resell. I don't think that they do, but you know, that's just something that they do to cover their financial butts. So hopefully we can get them to agree. And it may be different for lumber when you order special lengths. It may be different that they do agree to that, but I want it said and I want it in writing that we're protected, that if we get a load of expensive lumber and any percentage of it is bad, that we can return it and get something in return for it, either our money back or a new order placed. So anyway, that's where we are. Loki, don't go over there. Loki! 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 Oh, Jesus Christ. The dog has gone next door. Anyway, that's kind of where we're at. We hope that you enjoy these videos. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Any comments, questions, concerns? Put them down in the comment section. I gotta go get this dog. He's gone over the neighbor's yard. Loki! Loki! Loki, come on. Come on. Don't be over there. Come on. Right through the fence. Good boy. Good boy. You're all wet. Good boy. Let's go, Loki. What you doing? Come on, Loki. Went to the garden this morning and I neglected to look at this side of my zucchini for probably a couple of weeks. Came over here and found this gigantic beast of a zucchini over here. So I'm going to harvest that today and think of what I can do with it. Oh my gosh. Let's take a look and see if there's anything else in there. Nothing quite that monstrous. A few little ones down there, but I'm going to go ahead and harvest that here in just a little bit. Take a look at some other things in the garden. So here's my watermelon. Never grown watermelon before. I think this year I have learned quite a lot about this garden. I did see a video where a woman who gardens and has a gardening YouTube channel, I don't remember her name, just looked at it briefly, takes her butternut squash and trellises it, puts it up on a trellis, and it gives her a lot better yield and a lot better way to watch the fruits grow and be able to determine what's ready to be harvested and what's not. So I think next year I'm going to try that with these. So here we've got quite a few of the butternut squash growing. So we've got that one. This is just a bean that actually I didn't expect to survive. Here's another butternut squash. Here's another butternut squash. Here's another butternut squash. So look at all those. And the oldest one is coming close. Here's another one. There's another one right next to it. So good thing I like butternut squash. And Don likes it too. He never knows what it's really called when I feed it to him. So, over here is the most mature. It's very close. When they turn all tan with no green and then the skin is firm that you can't punch a nail into it, a fingernail into it. There's another one right next to it. Then they're ready to be harvested. But there's more in here. It's like every time I turn around there's something else. So I'm extremely pleased with this garden this year. It's amazing. Here's another little one starting. Here's one over here. It's amazing. I love it. This little one may not do much. It looks kind of puny. There's one over there. So it's incredible. Let's go take a look at the Japanese pumpkin. All right, so the Japanese pumpkin is going a little crazy too. So I think if I grow them again next year, I'll terrace them as well. So here's a little one starting. They aren't as prolific, I don't think, as far as fruits go. Over here, let's take a look. I don't see anything right away. There were a couple over here, but they could have ended up kind of like that, where this is not going to survive. That's actually just going to see it fall right off. But over here, there's a beautiful one. It'll get much darker, a bit bigger, probably half the size of a basketball-ish. But those are so delicious. And then over here, I've got a couple more. There's one. Where's that other one? There it is. Look at how beautiful. Beautiful. They are so delicious. If you've never tried them, go to your grocery store and try one. Just look up any recipe for Japanese pumpkin and you'll find that they're really, really good. Really yummy. Kale. I finally got some tomatoes on these plants that I almost lost. So, tomato, tomato, tomato. There's a couple good sized ones. So they're finally producing. Here's another one right there. So, maybe not tons of them right now. Hopefully I'll get more. But this is the first time I've grown tomatoes, so I'm very excited. And here, of course, is my elderberry. It's growing much, much better than the one last year. My avocado finally poking out there. And there's one in here. Barely, barely poking out right there. My herbs. Oh, I gotta show you the peppers. So these are jalapenos. Do you see them? Pepper, pepper, pepper. Pepper, 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 pepper. I'm so excited. Have a successful garden. Took a bit. Oh, look there. A volunteer basil. And I believe that's another pepper plant. Of course, my thyme, pineapple, mint, oregano, and rosemary. Very nice. The leftover potatoes. I'm going to let these go to flower or maybe go to seed. I've never ever heard of growing potatoes from seed. So I'm going to let these finish and maybe see what happens. Let's see if that one might be done. We'll have to take a look later. Whoa, run, Loki, run. What's the news, Loki? You came running up. Must have been something important. No? Okay. I'm going to finish. Like I said, I don't know what these are. They're not showing themselves yet. Broccoli or cauliflower. And one cabbage. Give it some more time. The volunteer tomato is going like crazy. And then I have some nice carrots. Ooh, got really close there. We'll get that grass out of there. Some carrots. So this is the first time for carrots for me ever. The most I'd ever done was years and years and years ago when the kids were little. And I grew spinach in Missouri, but God, it's so easy to grow anything in Missouri. Because they get a lot of rain and the soil is super rich. So I'm not sure why anybody would want to farm other than doing for themselves out here. But they do. They're draining all our water. They are. They're taking our water supplies. There are aggressive farmers from other states, Colorado, California, from other countries. Some of our pecans are going to companies in China because they control the farms and they don't care what they do with our water. They're taking it all. And that needs to stop. But our county leaders are money hungry. So they take it all the time. They let it happen. So that's the update. I'm going to go harvest this thing. It's amazing. Right before I cut it off of there, can you see it first? Right there. I'm going to give it a good measure from the stem. I'm at the stem and it's about 18.5 inches long. I cannot believe this. I've never seen one like that. Of course, I've never seen, I don't know if it's actually good because it's so huge, but we'll take a look. If it is, we'll make something with it. Dinner. It's the flower side. So I'm going to use this to cut the stem because I can't get anything else in there. A lot of damage. So I'm going to get as close as I can. Oh, came out beautiful. Oh my God, it thing's a ton. Holy smokes. That's the biggest zucchini I have ever seen in my life. It's huge. Well, we'll see. We'll take a look at it. If it's no good for eating, it'll at least be good for seeds. So that's what we'll do. I'll let you know.